What's going on, everybody? Mark Farzy here, the Farzy Show. Whoa, are we almost on time? Yeah, we're almost on time. This is amazing. Is the camera working? Oh my goodness, what do we do when the camera works? I don't know. Welcome into the program. This is the Farzy Show presented by Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. We got so much to get into today, and to help us talk about all things Phillies, for instance, Dave Shaw's going to join us from across the pond of UK Phils. There's a couple of issues with trying to watch the Phillies overseas. They originally told the good people of England and Europe and other countries there that they were going to be able to watch the Major League Baseball playoffs via stream. And that wasn't the case, unfortunately. So they shell out a couple of more bucks. So we'll talk to Dave about that, all his excitement. He will be in town later this week to enjoy some of the fine Phillies programming they hope to be giving us here. Hey, one way to beat international streams is to not be international. I guess it's just to fly to the country the game's going to be taking place in and watch the game either in person or on one of the TVs at one of the local establishments that will be having it on TV. So, hey, maybe we'll meet up with Dave Shaw later in the week. But he'll join us today from England to talk about all things Phillies, of course, they're of UK Phils. We got Garrett Stubbs. We're going to throw it back to Garrett Stubbs when he was on with this past June to talk about the type of influence Rob Thompson has put on this team, what kind of influence he's had on this team in terms of lifting some of the stress, and we'll harken back to that FU mentality that Garrett Stubbs talked about when he was on with us back in June, as Rob Thompson has signed a 2-year deal. They have removed the interim tag from Rob Thompson and made him the manager of the Philadelphia Phillies, obviously through this playoff run, and then through next year, and then through the year after that. So through 2024, Rob Thompson will be the manager of the Philadelphia Phillies, according to this new 2-year deal that he signed with the club. So that's great. Obviously earned. You go 65 and 46. You go 19 games over 500 after taking over a team that was 22-29 before you were the then interim manager, now manager. That's pretty impressive. Well-deserved for Rob Thompson. I think maybe you could argue overdue. If they would have locked up the wild card race a little bit earlier in September and not had yet another terrible September, then yes, you probably would have saw it happen in September. But Phillies decided to wait until they got out of that first round of the playoffs. I still think, even if they lost against the Cardinals, that I still think they would have ended up signing a guy that was 19 games over 500 in the brief amount of time that he was the Phillies manager. It wasn't like he had time to come in the offseason and implement anything. No, he came in, got viewed as a savior, essentially, and they inked him to the deal. I still think that would have happened, even if they did lose to the Cardinals in the postseason. But they didn't. And today they start the NLDS against the Atlanta Braves in Atlanta. Ranger Suarez gets to start against Max Fried. So we will get into that conversation today. We'll get into Nick Sirianni addressing the media, and something that I totally missed from Jalen Hurts' press conference. You know, sometimes you take down a note and you're writing a note and you don't hear something else. And the 5-0 thing is something that we'll absolutely get into today, because Nick Sirianni was also asked about it yesterday. I heard about it after the show yesterday, and it's an interesting thing, because when you're 5-0, you can only think of yourself as imperfect. Because at 5-0, if you're feeling yourself at 5-0, like, I think you got an issue. If you're at 5-0 and you go, well, everything we're doing is great, I think that's the fastest way to not be perfect. And you probably wouldn't even get the 5-0 at that mindset, because maybe at 3-0 or maybe even 4-0, you're looking at yourself going, well, we're great. We don't really need to do much else. Unfortunately, I don't think this Philadelphia Eagles team in the least bit is thinking of themselves as perfect. And we could go back to the Kelsey stuff before the season, like I pointed out yesterday and have been pointing out throughout the season. We could talk about Nick Sirianni has said throughout the season. We could talk about Jalen Hurts saying, don't take a team like the Cardinals all too lightly. Like, it's really amazing to me. After the game, when he was addressing the media in the same press conference, he said the 5-0 start. I don't want to hear the 5-0 start. Jalen Hurts said, you know, you guys didn't even want to ask me about this Cardinals team. Like, he was offended that the media was overlooking their next opponent, because his thoughts were, if the media is overlooking the next opponent, then they're only going to be writing about how they expect us to win. and how we can roll this team and we can just show up and win. Every coach's favorite mantra, every coach's favorite thing to say to a team that you're going to be playing against that is less than you. You think you just show up and win? We're not good enough to just show up and win. And that's the mindset that this professional football team has. This group of professional athletes, that's the mindset they have, that they can't just show up and win. And that's what you want. That's what you want from these guys. 5-0, that ain't nothing. And if people are referring to your season and constantly and referring to your record as 5-0, I totally agree with Jalen Hurts' mindset of that's the last thing I want to think about. Because the minute you start thinking about a full season is the minute you forget about your very next opponent. We talk a lot about in individual games, just what every week, right? Can't look ahead. Like you can't play the Cardinals and be looking ahead to the Cowboys. You can't look down the line. You have to play each individual game as they come. God forbid I say it, one day at a time. That's how you have to approach it. But the minute you start talking about 5-0 or a perfect season, the minute you start talking about that stuff, which, by the way, we're talking about perfect season, I'm off the same page. I saw my dear friend Trey Thomas point that out the other day. Oh, undefeated. Okay, you know what? I hope so. But I don't even want to think about that at this point. I'm thinking every season, every week is a season. And every week your goal is to go 1-0. It's the most cliche possible thing you could say. But it's true. It's cliche for a reason. It gets said over and over, and I go over and over again for a reason. It's as unoriginal as anything ever, but for a reason, because there have been multiple teams that have sat on this precipice of undefeated. They've sat on it and gone, oh, we're pretty damn good, but, we got to keep concentration going. I pointed it out even going into last week's game against the Cardinals. The Cardinals were 7-0 last season. They finished the season 4-6. 4-6 after being 7-0. They had a rough patch there for the last 10 games. So 4-0 was adorable. 5-0 was cute. They were 7-0. They were better. They were off to a better start than you were. And they won a playoff game, and then things didn't really work out after that. But, 4 wins the rest of the way. After 7-0, 4 wins the rest of the way. Nice lesson to be learned from last week's opponent. So we'll get to Nick Sirianni's reaction to being 5-0. We'll get to Jalen Hurts' reaction to being 5-0. We'll also, like I said, let's hear from Garrett Stubbs. And then this other thing came up because this has been talked about a lot throughout the week, throughout last week especially. Winning games in different manners, in a different manner, winning each of these 5 games in a different manner. Whether you're up big against the Lions, you got to hold on, right? Whether your defense steps up and plays a phenomenal game against the Vikings, you pretty much have control of that game throughout because you dominated in the second quarter. Whether you play a team like the Jacksonville Jaguars, for instance, and you're able to take control of that game after being down 14-0, you're up 14-0 against this team in the Arizona Cardinals. Like, you win these games, and then you got to hold on at the end. You get the game-winning field goal. Like, there's different ways you got to make sure you see the ball in the mitt, so to speak. And that's the way this Eagles team is approaching this season. And that's the way they've decided to go 5-0. You can't just win every game by 20 points, unfortunately. So Nick Sirianni gets asked that question in his press conference yesterday, and we'll get into that as well. Also, a wild couple of things going in there. If you hate analytics, you hated last night's Monday Night Football game between the Raiders and the Chiefs at Arrowhead. Because there were a couple of different things that went on there with 2-point conversions that I think have left a lot of fans scratching their heads, and we'll get into that conversation. Also, Tyrese Maxey just continues to dominate in the preseason. Yes, it's preseason, but anytime you see a player play the way he's playing, it's only signs of encouragement, especially when it's a young player, especially when it's a guy that you're hoping if all things really work out, he's flirting with an all-star appearance, personally, individually, and as a team, he's just a big cog in the wheel of a team that's going to go out there this season and actually get past the second round of the playoffs. What? I was thinking about it last night. The game was on NBA TV, and I'm thinking about it last night. I'm thinking to myself, hey there. 82 games I would like to just throw off the table. I'd like to just clear. I'm going to be entertained for 82 games. I'm going to watch 82 Sixers games. I'm going to be invested in 82 Sixers games. and I'm going to enjoy. But I don't give a damn about any of them. like my only thing is make it through the season healthy, get to the playoffs, just put me in the second round of the playoffs. That's where I just talked about all this stuff with the Eagles. Like, I can't look past the opponent. I am looking past 82 games of the NBA season. I know how the story ends as far as there'll be a top 3 seed. All right, if they get the number 1 seed, I don't care. I would love for them to get the home court advantage. Sure, wonderful. We've seen it before. It didn't work out. But I would love for it to happen. I don't care. I second seed, fine, third, whatever, fourth, whatever, I don't care. Get me to the second round of the playoffs and win that second round series. That's where the season starts for me. And I'm not even done the preseason yet. I'm watching Tyrese Maxey. I'm going, this is cool. I'm watching Matisse Thybulle knock down threes for you yesterday. He had 3 threes. And I'm thinking, I'm not even out of the preseason yet, and I want the regular season to be done. I'm not even out of it yet. That's where I am with the Sixers. I'm going to be pretty annoying when the Sixers season actually gets underway. It's like, okay, are we done yet? Wow, Joel Embiid's so good. I wonder if he'll compete for an MVP award. Woo! I know. I just get me to the second round of the playoffs. I'm taking 82 games and the first round of the playoffs for granted. That's what I'm at. That's where the Sixers. That's not even where I want to be. That's where the Sixers have put me. I'm a lot of fun. All right. So, yeah, that's what I got for you today. We got a little Phillies action we're going to get into, of course, with our friend Dave Shaw coming up in just a second from UK Phils. Let's start it off in order here of things that we learned yesterday. And that was Rob Thompson coming out and removing the interim tag. He signed on. He had said that really for the first 20 years of his career, he had thought about being a manager. And then all of a sudden he just you know what, maybe I won't be a manager. I'll just be a bench coach. And then things fall into place. He comes to Philadelphia with Joe Girardi. He's the bench boss there with Joe Girardi. Next to Joe Girardi, of course, he's the bench coach. Joe Girardi running the show. Joe Girardi gets canned at 22 and 29. Rob Thompson comes in, and all of a sudden this team that the Phillies ownership brass are spending top dollar for, all of a sudden starts to look like a top brass kind of team. 19 games over 500. So back in June, when the Phillies, I want to say, were 17 and 6 under their new skipper, Rob Thompson, Garrett Stubbs was kind enough to come on this show. It was about a week after his bat spike against the Marlins that helped get that Miami Marlins monkey off the Phillies' back of not being able to beat the Marlins. Garrett Stubbs hit that walk-off home run, spiked the bat down, and about a week later he joined the show, and I asked him about what it's like playing under Rob Thompson, and here's what Garrett Stubbs had to tell us.
I think everyone loves playing for him. I think he brings an energy that everyone is a little bit grittier out there on the field. There's a little bit of an FU mentality while we play. And the energy in the dugout has, I think people see it on camera. And I know we feel it day in and day out that we understand that there's a lot of really good baseball players on the field when the Phillies are playing. And there's an expectation to win. And so the energy and that expectation basically comes out when we're playing on all those ball games.
Garrett Stubbs Garrett Stubbs back in June talking about Rob Thompson. Hey, look, anyone in Philadelphia can really appreciate an FU mentality. Hey, we're not supposed to be here, but FU, we're going to be here anyway. I love that. Max Fried's going to be on the mound tonight. You're going to be going up against the world champions. FU, we don't care. We're going to go out there. We're going to take care of business. It's like that scene in Goodfellas when the late, great Ray Liotta is talking about now the guy works for Paulie. Now the guy's in with Paulie. Yeah, your business caught on fire? Bleep you, pay me. Like, it's that kind of mentality, but in baseball form, a family game. That's what you want to have in a manager, no matter what happens. And what's funny? It's like, no matter what happens, we're going to take care of business, is that mentality. And when you see Rob Thompson even address the clubhouse after you clinch a playoff spot or after you win a playoff series with the Cardinals, he's just this matter-of-fact Canadian guy that, by the way, looks exactly like Keith Jones. Have we not seen this yet? He looks exactly like Keith Jones. If I was to take Keith Jones of the Flyers fame, Keith Jones, of course, of the I used to work with over at WIP, he looks like an older version of Keith Jones. If I was to substitute and Photoshop Keith Jones's face on Rob Thompson, I don't even think half the people would know. But anyway, as long as the hat was on as well. But if I look at Rob Thompson in that clubhouse, and he's addressing his team, everything is matter of fact. I can't picture him going through highs and lows. I picture him even keel the whole time, just flatline, if you will. Like he's a foxhole type of personality. No matter what's happening, it's like, oh, they're shelling us today. Okay, like it doesn't matter. Oh, we're in the playoffs. Great. Oh, we got to get rid of Didi Gregorius, a guy I've been with for a decade. Yeah, okay. Like whatever it is, he's just even keel the entire time. Hey, you just had a nice little trade deadline right there. You got some help that's really going to bolster your playoff chances. Okay. I love that. It's so opposite of Philadelphia, but you know what it is? It's genuine. And I think people look at Rob Thompson, at least, as being genuine. They looked at Gabe Kapler as someone who was not genuine. I thought he was genuine, but he certainly didn't fit the mindset or the mentality of the city of Philadelphia. I don't think he fit the mindset, the mentality of his clubhouse. Rob Thompson took over, essentially, I feel, gave the team back to the players. And I feel like Joe Girardi was a pretty big personality, a guy that was pretty much set in his ways that I think overshadowed a lot of the leadership that was trying to take over. And this clubhouse would most likely be better suited if they did take over. Rob Thompson becoming that player's manager, I think helped things tremendously. And it's nice to see him get rewarded for that. And it's nice to know that he'll be in here allowing this clubhouse to be run in a very similar way, at least for the next 2 years. And I'm excited to see what he does today against the Braves when they get that series started at 107 this afternoon. Ranger Suarez, as I mentioned, does get the start today. Just to go over a quick couple of numbers. Ranger Suarez, Max Fried. Fried got 4 starts against the Phillies. He was 0-1 of those 4 starts with a 3.13 ERA. Suarez, 5 starts against the Braves this year, 1-2 in those starts with a 3.21 ERA. However, this is interesting. Over his last 3 starts, Ranger Suarez, last 3 starts against the Atlanta Braves, he has gone 17 innings, and he has not allowed a run in those last 3 starts, including 2 starts he had in the middle of September. 12 innings pitched. In those 17 innings, 1 earned run. And against Atlanta in his second to last start against Atlanta, 1 earned run, 7 hits, 5 walks in those 12 innings there. So 17 innings pitched in total in his last 3 starts, just 1 earned run over that time. So Ranger Suarez has got it going for himself, and hopefully we'll have it again in the lefty-lefty matchup today in round 2 of the playoffs, the NLDS in Atlanta. Let's switch gears to football, talk more baseball coming up in just a second here. Here's what we got for you when it comes to Nick Sirianni addressing the media yesterday, as well as Jalen Hurts 2 days ago after they took care of business against the Arizona Cardinals. This is something I didn't play for you guys yesterday because I just, quite frankly, missed it. I knew he wasn't happy with the fact that they had won the game, in terms of how they won the game, Jalen Hurts. But the 5-0 rant that he went on yesterday was interesting. This is what Jalen Hurts had to say about being 5-0 as of right now.
Honest. I hate hearing 5-0. I don't like to hear it. Because nobody wanted to mention the record when we were 2-5. Nobody wanted to talk about that. So I don't want to hear it now. I don't want to hear it now. Can we come in here, control the things we can, attack every day, and just grow and climb? Like that's what matters, the process. Not anything else. What can we do?
That's Jalen Hurts Sunday after they took care of business against the Cardinals. If that's not the mindset you want to have from your quarterback, if that's not the mindset, if that's not exactly what you want to hear from your quarterback, then we are not on the same page. The minute people start pumping in the idea of perfect, of being blank and whatever, is the minute you start ignoring the opponent in front of you. It's the minute a game gets blown up and blown out of proportion into, forget about just playing this particular opponent. You now got to worry about the next 10 opponents on this round. You got the next 12 opponents on your schedule. Because now you got to be perfect. When instead, I just want to concentrate. Instead of the whole schedule, I want to concentrate on the 1 week. And that's the only way teams can have extended winning streaks. It's the only way a team can even think about going 6-0, 7-0, 8-0, 9, and as the schedule goes on. Every week is its own individual thing. And the way Nick Sirianni addressed it yesterday when he was asked about Jalen Hurts' comments and also being 5-0, Nick Sirianni was asked about what his message to the team is at 5-0 and how he takes Jalen Hurts' comments yesterday.
Yeah, same as it's always been, right? We got to go 1-0 this week, and to go 1-0 this week, we got to go 1-0 in the day we're at, and to go 1-0 in the day we're at, we got to go 1-0, or we got to be ready with our walkthrough and then our meet, right? Whatever we are in that particular time. Like this isn't Jalen's first rodeo being 5-0, right? It probably happened to him every time he was at Alabama. It probably happened to him the year he was at Oklahoma. So he understands that. That it's just the next games that's the most important one. And so that's exactly what we preach as coaches and our players preach, in the sense of, hey, like, if does 5-0 feel good? Yeah. You want 6-0 to happen? Then you better do everything you need to do in that week to ramp up for it. And we can't control what happened in the past. We can't control what's happening way in the future. All we can control is is the moment we're in right now. And so go attack the day. And be hungry and humble, and attack the day, and let's get better today in everything that we do.
Nick Sirianni yesterday on being 5-0 and his message to the team at the same time. I don't even think about college a lot of times with these guys because it's not the pros. And so often when you talk about what a guy did in college, it's like, oh, yeah, well, it's not the NFL. Okay. I think it plays in a lot, especially if you played at a bigger program like Alabama or even like Oklahoma, for instance. You should be used to being undefeated. That's kind of the way it shakes out when you're in those Power 5 conferences. If you're getting things done at that level, then you should be able to hopefully carry that over into the professional ranks there. Jalen Hurts seems to be that type of guy that carries over that same type of mindset, carries over that same type of feel. That's what I want to hear from my quarterback. That's what I want to hear from my head coach. That this shouldn't be, yes, it's the NFL. It's the biggest stage. It's the right. But you shouldn't be shocked that you got to this point, especially if you're coming out the talent that Jalen Hurts was. And although being a second-round pick, huge upside, the Eagles chose to defy all logic I still can't wrap my head around, and think, why would you sign a long-term deal, guaranteed money with your franchise quarterback, and then in the second round, not draft someone that would help him or help this team and play every down? So the Eagles defied that logic and then drafted a guy that is now going to be their next franchise quarterback in Jalen Hurts. And I truly believe that. And I said that going into this season, that I expect Jalen Hurts to validate the idea that he's a franchise quarterback. And I expect Jalen Hurts not only to be the starting quarterback going into this year, but for the next year as well. And the year after that, and the year after that. I still don't think he's going to sign some kind of 10-year deal, but I do think he's at least going to sign a 4-year deal, maybe a 5-year deal. And I do think he's going to sign for around the $200 million mark. Similar to that of Kyler Murray, that was about 230. Now his deal ends up being about 109 guaranteed, whatever, over 3 years. I think Jalen Hurts is going to get paid. And I think the Eagles, if not before the season's out, are going to dangle that carrot out in front of Jalen Hurts and say, And if Jalen Hurts is smart, he's going to sign that deal. I still don't think he will. This is if they offer before the playoffs. I think Jalen Hurts' best bet is to wait and see how he performs in the playoffs. Essentially bet on himself. But I do think that contract offer is coming for the Eagles. Oh, boy. And it's going to come a little faster if they beat the Cowboys on Sunday night in front of the whole world. But anyway, bottom line is that's the mindset you want your players to have. You want your coach to have. All right. I understand that the way the Eagles won, and I think it was our friend Kevin Kincaid of Crossing Broad that put the story out there about my co-host on the post-game show when I was filling in for Mike Missinelli, and my co-host for the pregame show over there on Jacob Media, Seth Joyner. I came out, and here's what I love about Seth. Seth is the real talk. I always wanted to do some type of promo with Seth Joyner where he took brides-to-be wedding dress shopping. And she asks her mom, what do you think? And she's like, I love it. And she asks her best friend, her maid of honor, what do you think? Oh, I love it. And she asks her favorite aunt, what do you think? I love it. And she asks grandma, I love it. Grandma smoked a little bit. And then it's like, Seth? And Seth is just there like, your butt looks big. Like, I think that would be the greatest commercial / promo in the history of anything. And And I think that's the type of guy that Seth Joyner is, and that's why he's so damn respected. It's real talk all the time. And I've said it a lot on this show. This is where we fall into trouble and become negative, and people think we're being negative, and really, we're being real. It's not about, like, you don't play the season. You don't go through an off season. You don't make acquisitions. You don't try to get better from one season to the next so that in week 5, you beat the Arizona Cardinals. That's not what it's about. Yes, it's about that individually, as we just talked about when you're 5-0, whatever it might be. Yes, in that moment, yes, that's what it's about. But what you have to do is evaluate that way, the way they won that particular game, and say, all right, well, if this was a playoff game, if this was that, true, it's not, which is bottom line why you enjoy the win. And they're celebrating in the locker room, even though everyone to a man knows that there was a lot of luck involved in that win. But then there was also a lot of luck that was created by the Eagles, whether that be a 15-play drive, whether that be the 17-play drive. You created that luck. Jalen Hurts made throws to Dallas Goedert. Jalen Hurts made throws to Devontae Smith. Miles Sanders made runs for you. Your offensive line fought through injury and turmoil and adversity and helped get you those yards in the fourth quarter. So, yes, you created your own luck. You won the game. You improved to 5-0. You beat a team you were supposed to beat. On a bad defensive day, you still only allowed 17 points. And by the way, how about a little controversy? I mean, it possibly blocked. Milton Williams possibly blocked that field goal. Look forward to hearing from Milton when they get into the locker room today. They had off yesterday. Nick Sirianni was asked about it. He said, I got to ask Milton. Players had off today, so I'll talk to him tomorrow. Meaning today, Tuesday. But it's not just about beating the Cardinals in week 5. It's about how good are you stacked up against the rest of the league. And the way they played that game yesterday, if they play that way against the Cowboys on Sunday, they're going to lose. You can't spot whether it's Dak Prescott or Cooper Rush. You can't, spot a team like that like you did to the Jaguars, 14 points and then come back. You can only play who's in front of you. But whoever's in front of you, the way we're going to measure that game, bottom line is wins and losses. But it's about taking the way you played in that game and saying, all right, well, you better correct those mistakes because you're not going to be able to make those same mistakes against the Cowboys. Hell, you're not even going to be able to make those same mistakes against the Giants, who look like a legit team as well, beating the Packers in London. Seth Joyner pointing out what he pointed out in the postgame show, I think was dead on. And I came out in that postgame show and said, the Eagles took care of business. They got the win. They improved to 5-0. And Derek Gunn was the first one to jump on me and go, oh, took care of business. I'm like, yeah, they won the game. That game, we'll go break down what didn't go well. And Seth Joyner, right on it. Here's what they needed to do. How do you disguise your blitz? Where do you get your different reads for your quarterbacks? Where are your hot routes for your quarterbacks? Where are your sight adjustments for your quarterbacks or for your quarterback? That's all legit stuff. Yes, and he even said, yes, I'm happy they won, but I'm not going to wave pom-poms when I saw a lot of things that need to be critiqued and corrected, and it comes down to coaching. And for me, it was like the Eagles in the first quarter, which is rare, but in the first quarter and into the second quarter, it was like they couldn't do anything wrong. Every move they made was the right move. And then later in that second quarter, for the rest of the game, it was a struggle. And then you were able to, in the fourth quarter, to put 2 huge drives together after surrendering a huge drive as well. They did what they had to do to win, yes. But when you look at those mistakes, it's a matter of not repeating those mistakes. You saw a lot of mistakes in this game that you made in the Lions game in week 1 when you took your foot off the gas. If Hassan Reddick isn't as talented a player as he is, you might lose this game. It's like any little thing that might have went the other way, one thing out of maybe 10 goes the other way, you're maybe talking about this being your first loss of the season. But the Eagles do, and the Eagles did what good teams do, which is they found a way to win. Oh, another cliche. Oh, no. It's only a cliche because it's true. Eagles remain undefeated. Great to see that. And now they got the Dallas Cowboys coming up Sunday night for all the world to watch. As far as, yes, winning every game different. Hey, man, it shows versatility. That's for damn sure. You know what else it shows me? You're never out of it. We say it all the time about quarterbacks. Do you have a quarterback that's going to make you feel like you're in every game? I do. Because now I've seen Jalen Hurts. take over a game, throw for over, well over 330 yards. I've seen him come in the game, throw touchdowns, run for touchdowns, whatever it might be. I've seen Jalen Hurts go out there, engineer 12-play drives, 17-play drives. Yeah, I feel like I'm in it. I know I have a great running back in Miles Sanders that when you decide to use him, he can get you yards. You have a deep offensive line. That's what this past game proved, and the game before that as well. And it looks like Jordan Mailata will be back by Sunday to take on the Cowboys. And you need everything you can get on that offensive line to make sure they're performing at as high a clip as possible. I know you got some pretty damn good wide receivers, so yes, I feel like you're in every game. Continue to prove it is all we'll ask. Now, as far as the Jalen Hurts thing, and I pointed it out yesterday, 15 runs he had in this game against the Cardinals. I don't think Jalen Hurts looks to run. I know he can, and I know there'll be called plays for him to run, or the RPO, the read on that RPO will be that the defensive end or the edge rusher is coming in, so he'll pop it to the outside, which is the right read on the play. But I don't think he drops back and goes, oh, God, I hope I can run. Some people might try to paint it out. And I think he's proven that so far this year. 15 runs, according to Nick Sirianni, 7 of them were quarterback sneaks. That seems a little high. 7 of them were quarterback sneaks. Here's my issue. If the Eagles get a 4th and goal from the 1 situation, okay? Should I say 4th and 1? 1st and goal from the 1 situation. If they get in that scenario, 9 times out of 10, they're just having Jalen Hurts sneak it. My only issue with that is, why not at least try to hand it to a running back? Like, why not at least run up the middle with one of your running backs? And then, even if you get stuffed, then try to punch it in with a quarterback sneak. My point is, why am I going to continue when I know it's going to happen throughout the game anyway? Why am I going to continue to put my quarterback in a position where he's going to maybe get hit? Put his head down and try to get across the goal? Oh, yeah, what could go wrong? A lot. Why not just try it with a running back once? I'm not saying – now, this is what drove me crazy. Of all the things of the Chip Kelly era, if you remember, a lot of times they'd get to the goal line and they'd line up in shotgun. And they'd hand the ball to LaShawn McCoy or whoever, flat-footed, and then he would have to run 6 yards to get into the end zone. 5 yards to get into the end zone instead of 1. That didn't make any sense to me. Line up under center, give the ball to the running back with a full head of steam, let your offensive line do his job, and look at this, your quarterback doesn't have to get hit. And I understand, and I had this conversation with Seth Joyner during the game, and it was during the first punch-in from Jalen Hurts. When you're lined up under center and you're the quarterback, the goal line is right there. It's right in front of you. All you got to do is lean forward. I get that, but I'm still exposing my quarterback to danger. I get doing it. I just don't get doing it on the first play. That's my issue. I'd rather hand it to a running back. Hey, you go deal with this. That's just one thing I think Nick Sirianni can kind of take the foot off the gas a couple of times. Not foot off the gas, but can maybe dial back the quarterback sneaks. In an emergency situation, sure. 1st and goal from the 1, I don't consider it an emergency. Oh, what if the running back gets stuffed for the 2-yard loss? Then he gets a 2-yard loss. The goal line's still right there. You can't run another play? You mean to tell me behind this offensive line, you can't gain another yard or 2 yards again? You can't get that back and then set it up for a quarterback sneak? I like your odds. I like your odds with this offensive line, even with Jack Driscoll at left tackle, because that's a lot tackle. It's not taking up the middle of your offensive line. So if there's one thing I can look at with Nick Sirianni, it's, hey, can we do a little bit to protect your quarterback? Because every single week he's asked about the balance. Oh, how do you balance Jalen Hurts running the football versus throw the football when he's such a great athlete? How do you balance that? I'll tell you how I balance it. I try to not run him as much. Maybe take away the RPO as often as you're calling the RPO. Maybe take away the option and just, I don't know, run it. I'm not expecting Miles Sanders to turn into some Derrick Henry or Jonathan Taylor last year, bell cow back where he's getting 25, 30 carries a game. That's not happening. But maybe threaten 20 carries a game. It's pretty damn good. Especially coming off the game he came off of. Especially with the offensive line having the issues that they had last week. I mean, I made this argument yesterday. But the best way to get your offensive line, young guys, into a rhythm is a run block. There's only a couple of freaks out there, Trey Thomas, Jason Kelsey maybe, that actually want to pass block. Bonkers to me. All right. Eagles, Cowboys. Shane Steichen will address the media today as will Jonathan Gannon, and I'm curious to see what he has to say about the way they approach that game against the Cardinals. Again, the other thing is, 17 points against that offense. Banged up, yes, but still 17 points allowed by your defense in a game that, there were some lucky plays. The one most notably, I think, was the one to Marquise Brown late in that second quarter that he just dropped. That could have gone for a lot of yards, and it did not, fortunately. But 17 points allowed by your defense is a good day at the office most days. But the aesthetics is what sticks with you. Not being as aggressive certainly sticks with it. Just want to get this in real quick with Tyrese Maxey. I was going to save it for the morning rush, but the hell with that, I want to roll. Sixers won another preseason game last night. Tyrese Maxey went into last night's game having scored 41 points in 29 preseason minutes. 41 points in 29 preseason minutes. It's pretty damn good. Last night, he had 11 points in under 5 minutes. Within the first 5 minutes of the game, Tyrese Maxey put up 11, finished with 19. That's fun. That's fun to watch. And the other thing that was nice, Matisse Thybulle, 3 threes. Knock him down, fella. Knock him down. Coming up in a minute, talk more about this Phillies Braves series with Dave Shaw from across the pond. But right now, let me tell you about Steven Singer. Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut, right there on Jewelers Row in Philadelphia. Do what I do when it comes to all your big jewelry purchases. Trust Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. Looking to get engaged? Diamond ready for love engagement ring standing by at the ready. So when it comes to those big jewelry purchases, trust my man Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. One place, one price, perfect price. Online at IHateStevenSinger.com. Without further ado, let's jump on the Roth Orthopedics guest line. Talk to our friend Dave Shaw from UK Phillies. Yes, right now, the Rothman Orthopedics guest line. Please welcome back to the show, Mr. Dave Shaw of UK Phillies. Dave, what's going on, brother?
Good, man. Buzzing. Absolutely buzzing. Get me to the game. Get this game won. I'm ready for this now. This 2 days has been nice. It's nice to recoup from the celebrations and the lack of sleep over the weekend. But I'm ready. I am ready for this week.
I'm sure you are. Now, I know there's something we have to address right out of the gate here. And that was an issue with people in your position overseas trying to watch the Phillies. You guys were getting blacked out. Not like in the good way of like you're at a pub and you're blacked out, but like you couldn't blacked out. Yeah, what the hell happened there? Were you able to watch the first 2 games there against the Cardinals?
Yeah, classic MLB own goal. You know, they're talking about promoting the game internationally, and they changed their terms and conditions to the subscription a few days before the postseason without even telling anybody. Thankfully, someone spotted it in the small print. Hey, hang on. Why the international blacked out? Why is the UK blacked out? And then someone had screenshots of when they took our money at the start of the season, saying that yes, postseason will be included in the package. And now they've changed it during the season, a few weeks before postseason. So a real storm went down. I'm glad the Athletic picked it up because it's just terrible. It honestly is terrible, and people have missed out. So the way we can watch it here in this country, I know it's different for other countries, but it's on a sort of paid sports subscription channel called BT Sports. Even still, the Braves 1 and 2 games is on an interaction service of theirs, which again you have to pay directly to them to have access to that service. So still not everyone will have access to it. There's going to be fans missing out, not just for the Phils, but the fans of the teams in the postseason who want to watch it. It's a complete mess. It's a complete own goal by the MLB. MLB Europe haven't really helped themselves in all this either by just not piping up and at least apologize. There's been no apology. No apology. Absolute uproar. It's just an embarrassing own goal. It's just, hey, come on, MLB. Sort it out, man. It's not good enough. I thankfully got lucky, managed to get a subscription. But, you know, in these times where cost of living is ridiculously high for everybody, to then having to fork out more money, even though we've already paid the money for the subscription that was promised at the start of the season for the postseason. And now they're trying to fork out more money out of people, not tell anybody. It's just a low blow move by the MLB.
And I just want to clarify for our very American audience, an on goal is not a good thing. That's when you score.
Oh,
on
no,
that's when you score on your. That's right. That's when you score. Like, for those that don't watch Ted Lasso or don't watch Welcome to Wrexham, an on goal is when you score on yourself, looking like a putz. Unfortunately, so I'm glad you're able to still, in some way, shape, or form, follow these games. I know you're excited. Where were you? So, game one, they have the comeback. Game two, they're able to withstand everything throughout that game and get runs when they needed to get runs, and they win. The Mets lose. What was more enjoyable? Just watching the Phillies win or watching the Mets get bounced out?
Phil's win, and the Mets was the cherry on top of a beautiful, beautiful cake. Waking up this morning to that was just amazing. Absolutely amazing. 101 wins, and it all means nothing if you can't get through the postseason. This is what I kept saying to Mets fans here, like, cool, you've won 101 wins, but what does it actually mean? Unless you win the World Series, it means nothing. Good season, cool. But we've got further than you guys, and it's bittersweet. All this talk they gave us all season, and they're sitting on the couch watching it at home. And we progress. It's bittersweet. But the top of the ninth in game one and the whole game two, nothing tops that for me. In my years of following the Phils since 2012, nothing, and it's not hard. But nothing is going to ever top that at the moment, unless, of course, what this week brings. Fingers crossed.
And speaking of what this week brings, Ranger Suarez likely getting the start in game one, their third starter getting the start in game one of this series against the Braves. All of a sudden, you find yourself as a wild card team going up against the reigning World Series champion Atlanta Braves. Ranger Suarez has some good numbers in his last three starts against the Braves. It doesn't really get much better than scoreless over his last 17 innings against the Braves. So how optimistic are you that the Phillies can make this, at the very least, a competitive series?
Actually, not quietly. I'm pretty confident. There seems to be something special brewing with this team. Even just watching them celebrate, watching them all bond together, watching how close they are, and watching the relationship that they all have, even we've just seen with Topper signing the contract extension, I really believe they're doing it for him. They're doing it for the fans. They're doing it for Philly. I've all kept talking about, let's get this postseason back to Philly. Let's give the fans the experience of postseason baseball back at the bank. And I'm believing it now, and we've just swept a good Cardinals team on the road. That's the monkey off the back. We've got there. Monkey off the back. Excellent. Pressure's off. Now we've just won 2 road games. Brilliantly managed road games by Thompson as well and by the boys. The pressure's off. They know they can do it. Suarez, I reckon he's excited to go. He's seen what Wheeler's done. He's seen what Nola's done. He wants to join the party. He knows he's got the stuff. We've seen he's got the stuff of late. Just 6 scoreless innings would be amazing. It's a good Braves team. This is a completely different caliber team to what we've seen with the Cards. This is a good Braves team to the core. 1 tonight. It's a good lineup, good pitchers, tough series. And if we won this, then who knows what we can do, because these are one of the favorites right here. But I think Suarez has been itching to get to the party. He's been watching this going, all right, my time. The feel-good factor's there. The momentum's there for the Phils. While the Braves have been sitting back, watching what's going on. Maybe they've just lost a little bit of momentum. They haven't been playing. The Phils are in a groove. 2 huge road wins to go with that road series in Atlanta. All the celebrations on the road. The Phils are now used to being on the road as well. If we can get 1 win out of these first 2 games to go back to the bank, which is going to be rocking, and fingers crossed I'm going to be in there as well. It's going to be incredible. And I just feel that the Phils, if we can take game 1 or 2, we've got every chance of progressing.
I'm glad you brought that up, because the last time we talked, you were telling me, hey, Red October, we're going to be talking about playoff baseball. And I'm like, I think you're right. I think we're on that path. I think that's the way it's going to go. And so I know your schedule's changed, and you got a busy schedule nowadays, juggling a lot going on. Do you think you are going to be able to make it over here to the States for some Phillies playoff baseball?
Flights are booked for Wednesday morning, buddy.
I'm
gonna be there, man. I'm gonna be in Philly. I'm fingers crossed I can bag myself a ticket for Friday or Saturday. But I fly in Wednesday 1 o'clock. I am straight to Xfinity Live to watch Game 2 on the screens over there. I just can't wait to just even be in the city for Red October. heard all the stories, I've seen the videos, people saying, oh, Philly is all in on the Phillies. When the Phillies are great, everybody's in. I'm already getting a grip of that over here. I'm going to be there Wednesday. I'm going to get every bit of memorabilia going, the rally towel, the cap, the T-shirts, everything. I'm going to collect it all up. I cannot wait just to feel the vibe in the city, the atmosphere. Xfinity Live is going to be bouncing on Wednesday for Game 2. Fingers crossed I can get a ticket for Friday and Saturday, but if not, I'll still be at Xfinity Live. I just can't wait to experience it in Philly with other Philly fans talking Phillies and hopefully cheering the boys on to what's going to be a historic victory over the Braves.
You're not going to believe it. Now, I will be stateside, so I'll have to come out and meet up with you and at least, at least buy you a pint. But I know the last time you were in the States, I was in England. So we completely crossed. I just got invited to a wedding in Italy. This week we can't go, but my wife and I maybe like, well, maybe we can work it out. I don't think we will be. So we will be stateside. We won't be crossing planes again this time around.
That was a crazy. That was a 4-and-4 crazy trip. Yeah, we were going to organize something, and you were just over here at the time.
Yeah, another wedding, and my cousin got married over there. So now you mentioned Rob Thompson getting the contract. I'm happy he got it. He's going to be the Phillies manager through next season and through the season after. I'm just a little surprised that it took this long. I know September wasn't great, and they weren't going to put a stamp of approval on them while they were struggling in September, and all that stuff. But they secured the playoff spot. Were you a little surprised it took this long, or was it that I'll call it a September hiccup that was thrown in there as to what delayed it?
I was the other way. I was expecting it to be after. I was like, oh, don't take the interim off now. Let's wait after the postseason and put it on. But actually, now I've seen all the players coming out to a man on social media and saying how much they love this. It's just another big boost, isn't it? It's just another big button they've pressed. All right, more momentum. Topper, it's yours. The job is yours. The players love it. They've all come out on social media. Yes, Topper's our guy. We're doing it for him. We're doing it for the fans. It's another great move, isn't it? It's another thing that the team have got right. The timing seems to be against this series tomorrow. He deserves it. Like, okay, he's made some hiccups, but you forget he's a rookie manager. He was thrown in. He didn't have a spring training. He didn't have any time to adjust. He was thrown straight in the deep end with a team that were 8-9 games below 500, and he has clicked his fingers and worked some magic and turned this team around. Because at the end of May, even though I was bigging it up that the Phils will still be fine, don't worry, we might make wild card, I was thinking deep down, this is going to be a rough season. Topper has done what incredible. He's changed the whole dynamic of the locker room. That is incredible. And everyone's saying, especially at the start of the season, the Girardi, people saying, we don't see no chemistry in the locker room. The guys don't seem to be gelling. Look at them now. The bonding they're doing, the celebrations, how close they are to a man. It's amazing what Topper's done. Absolutely deserved. And yeah, he's going to make some mistakes. He's still new to this manager job, isn't he? He's still a relative rookie, but what we've seen so far is so promising. His record since he took over is unbelievable. He absolutely deserves it. And I'm happy for him. I think everyone's happy for him. He's probably one of the most popular managers we've had in a long, long time as well. The players love him. The fans love him. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, he wasn't Philly Rob earlier in the process, for nothing. It was like he got named the interim manager, and then they fired Girardi. Philly Rob. It took like 5 wins in a row. That's it. Not even like the 9 wins in a row. And everyone started obviously falling in line with Rob Thompson. Before I let you go, what is your prediction? I know you're optimistic. I know you're, can I use the term bullishly optimistic? When it comes to this Phillies team going up against the Braves?
Yeah, look, we've got a score set with the Braves. We've had some brutal losses to the Braves this year. And you know what? The season record, we haven't been that far behind them. And every time I've watched the Braves beat the Phillies, I've always thought there's not actually a lot between us. Okay, they've been a bit more clutch. That's what's come down to. And I think this is a fired up Phillies. This is a fired up for it Phillies. It seems like there's something special brewing. I think we take it 3-1. I think we're going to take one of the 2 games in Atlanta, and I think we're gonna go win in Philly because I think it's gonna be pumped, and I think we're gonna scare Atlanta out of Philly.
I love it. I love every second of that, and I hope you're dead on accurate when it comes to that. And look, the other part of it is it takes a little magic. Sometimes it takes a little magic. New manager might just be that new magic. It's a hell of a story with Rob Thompson getting that interim tag lifted off of him, being the manager for at least the next 2 years, and obviously rallying this team in the clubhouse to be at least a second round team at the very least. I do want to ask you this though, because there's a lot of hype right now about the 5-0 Philadelphia Eagles. And even though the quarterback, Jalen Hurts, doesn't want to talk about a team being 5-0, doesn't want to talk about the record at all, as a matter of fact, is that anything like, does your Philly fandom bleed into Eagles at all in American football, or is that still something you're looking to get into down the line?
Yeah, no, I think it does, and then the other way around as well. Like the Eagles fans, predominantly Eagles fans, are now locking onto the Phillies as well. It's a great. There's a lot of 4-4 over here as well, and even 5 with the Union as well. You know, there's a lot of, because we're all pretty soccer mad as well. You know, we're all looking at the Union in the playoffs coming up as well. We'll be watching them as well. I think everyone, it's the same passion over here, not just in the UK but Europe. You know, as it is in Philly. We all look out for Philly sports. You know, the Sixers, Flyers, Union, even Temple, Villanova. You know, we all keep.
God bless you.
Of all the Philly, because we all have the same passion. We all root for Philly, you know. Philly, but it's a city, you know. It's a city that we all feel very close to and connected to, and we're all, although we're not from Philadelphia and we're not born in Philly, we're still Philly through and through. So yeah, absolutely.
You're probably more Philly than a lot of people from Philly would consider people like me that are from the suburbs. You would be considered more Philly than even me, most likely, because I'm from Ambler, Doylestown, right? That ain't the same. But hey, I spent my adult life in the city, and I don't plan on leaving anytime soon. What was this I was reading? You're like showing Chase Utley around or something? You guys are like best friends now or something? What's going on there?
Man, I wish. Come on, Chase. Come on. Where are you, buddy? Where are you? I know. Look, I know where roughly Chase is living, but I'm not gonna be stalkerish. I'm not like a guy who. I know where Chase is, but I'm not the guy who's going to be outside of his gates going, Chase. Yeah, I'd love a beer with him. I'd love to hang out and talk baseball with him, but he's a private man, so you know,
yeah.
If we ever got in touch and ever reached out, awesome. Always up for it. I'll drop everything, even if I'm at work. I'll drop my pen. I'm at that door. We'll go for a beer, Chase. But yeah, he's around in London. But I imagine he's getting settled in. He's the new MLB Europe ambassador as well, so he's got a big job on his plate there as well. But yeah, fingers crossed that message comes through. Yeah, Chase is around. Some PR stuff he's got to do. Do you want to come along? Yes.
There you go. All right. Well, I hope that happens. You know, first order of business for Chase Utley, fix the streaming.
Yeah,
damn it, man.
Yeah.
Dave, great catching up with you, man. You know that. I'll definitely have to meet up with you at some point.
Absolutely.
While you're here in Philadelphia, my man. I'll be in touch with you. Appreciate you jumping on with us all the way from across the pond, and go Phils as per usual. If you guys don't follow Dave, first off, make sure you guys give a follow if you're not already to UK Phils. He's running the site. He's making things happen. He's making moves. And obviously follow him on his personal account. You guys can follow him right there. Dave, always great catching up with you, man. Thanks so much, and go Phils.
Go Phils. Thank you. See you soon, buddy.
See you soon. Dave Shaw joining us on the Ruffin Orthopedics guest line. How about Dave Shaw right there joining us there on the Ruffin Orthopedics guest line? Great catching up with him as per usual. You gotta Chase Utley. Come on, man. Come on, bro. Hey, can't meet our buddy Dave? Well, what's going on over there? You a little busy? I don't see any English lads and lattices. I don't know. Yeah, I don't see them picking up any baseball bats anytime soon. Anyway, thanks to Dave. I don't know if I ever told this story, but and I'm not even going to tell a story. I'm just going to make a statement. Chase Utley was my first ever interview in the professional world. He was my first ever interview. Not a bad first time, right? Let me tell you guys about Manscaped, the leader in below the waist grooming. Do what I do, ladies and gentlemen. When it comes to Manscaped, you got to trust them. Use promo code Farzy at manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping. They have the Platinum Package 4.0, which is the one-stop shop you'll need. It includes the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, the Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, and it all comes with skin-safe technology that helps reduce the risk of nicks so you can manscape with confidence and comfort. How great is that? Manscaped, the leader in below-the-waist grooming. Now you can trust them with the whole shebang. Join the 4 million men worldwide that trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com. Manscaped. It's where you got to go. How about Freestone Farm CBD? FreestoneFarmCBD.com. Ooh, their tropical tasting Bay Ox that clocks in at a chart topping 24.1%. And the Super CBD, which is half Hindu, Kush, and 21%. The genetics of these guys are off the charts. Freestone Farm CBD, it's good for anyone looking to take a more natural approach to everything that they're putting in their bodies, and it helps lull you to sleep at night or relax after a workout. Freestone Farm CBD, 20% off when you use promo code Farzy at FreestoneFarmCBD.com. You've heard me talking about Mojo for weeks now. Download the Mojo app to your phone right now. Available in New Jersey on iOS. Must be physically located in New Jersey to play. But check out these stocks. Absolutely insane. Taysom Hill, nice little game for himself last week. He's up $1.22 on his share price from $11.17 to $12.24. He's up $1.22. He is up. He accounted for 134 total yards and 4 touchdowns on Sunday. Still has a $5.19 of future Mojo value. He's priced as the 44th highest QB behind Gardner Minshew at $13.60. Also, Drew Lock at $8.90. Also up, Josh Allen. Nice to see you for the people that have him as an MVP guy. And they should, obviously, very much in the conversation. Some might even say the front runner. Josh Allen. Jalen Hurts right there as well. But Josh Allen, he's up $1.62. He went up, he was at $91.50. So he has risen 1.81%. Each player has a share price attached to them. They have over 300 players of quarterbacks, skilled positions, wide receivers. Daniel Jones, by the way, also up $1.11 with his share price. Jones accounted for 254 yards, no touchdowns or turnovers. He is still has $12.30 in future Mojo value. Check out the Mojo app right now. You know who's down in stock price? Matthew Stafford. He went down $1.72. Threw for 308 yards and with a touchdown and an interception last week. So this is how it goes. Dalton Schultz is a guy that was, for the tight end value, very high now and not so much. Down 7.86%. Whew. That's not good. Not good for anybody. So make sure you check out Mojo and what these share prices are on the Mojo app. Go to mojo.com for more information. Let me tell you about our man over there at PHL Sports Nation, our men and women at PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing our Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's phlsportsnation.com. Let's get into the chat check, ladies and gentlemen, see how everybody is doing on this fine Tuesday morning, where the Phillies and the Braves will start their NLDS coming up in just a second. Let me see what's going on. Whoops-a-daisy. That's the wrong button. There we go. Let's see here. Wait, nope, not the right button yet. Now I'm on the right button. John Cheeseborough, what's up, John? Tyvita, Sean, Dan. John, we definitely would like for the Oh, no, hold on. Oh, geez, to put a quarter in this machine. As you guys know, Jamie Lynch is a very good friend of mine. I've known Jamie for 13 years. I think I started at WIP, and then maybe 2 years later, he was in. He won the same contest I won, right? The intern contest that was back in the day run like Donald Trump's Apprentice television program. You know Donald Trump. He later went on to some other career things. But Jamie won that contest, I think 2 years after I did. We became fast friends. He invited me to play on his buddy's softball team. His buddy is now one of my closest friends. I met my wife on that softball team, the mother of my children on that softball team. They're the same person. And Jamie's been a close friend of mine for a long time, and I was thrilled when I got the chance to work with him again at that other radio station, aside from just WIP. And I'll just say there's a way you do things and a way you don't do things. And more often than not, that other radio station, they choose to do it the way you don't do it. I don't know what Jamie's status is, because a lot of times in this business, most times, every time in this business, you sign a non-compete. I'd love to get him on as soon as humanly possible. I know he's still processing the whole situation. I have spoken to him. I called him. I'll tell you what honestly happened. I told you guys last week that I went for that allergy test, and Jamie and I both have asthma. And when I first went through my test of asthma, I scored off the charts. And I talked to Jamie about it, and he was like, we were both laughing that I scored like basically I should be dead. And that was Jamie's joke. He's like, how are you alive right now? You know? So I texted him, hey, I just scored again on this test, something astronomical. And he's like, you got to get rid of them cats. By the way, I just got let go. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? So it just happened, and I had spoken to him, and the business is cutthroat, but it doesn't need to be that cutthroat, man. Shouldn't make it any more cutthroat than it is. So I will get him on this program whenever he's ready to come on, whenever he is contractually allowed to, depending on what the non-compete is. I know for my own particular instance, I was allowed to do, or I was able to do guest spots, but I had to iron that out because when I got let go from that station, I got a request to come on Fox 29 like that week or whatever it was. I was like, I gotta wait to see what everything works out legally, whatever. And then of course I do, during football season especially, I do somewhat regular appearances on Fox, and other stations have had me on PHL and CBS and all that. But it's crazy the world works, and it doesn't need to be as crazy as it is. So I'll just say that. But yeah, no, Jamie's still a really good friend of mine. I'd love to get him on this show as soon as humanly possible. Dan Schwartz, the bro on broad. Interesting. Oh, John Cheesebro said that. Dan, you agree? Okay. I like the way you guys are thinking. Good morning, April. Nice to see you. Sean, what's going on? Tyvita, hello again. Jalen Hurts said the process. That word will always stick out to me. The process, sure. Dan's already got a sponsor for Jamie. Mopar, what's happening? John Cheeseboro, I know I've said this before. I don't know if you're going to get, a Cecily Thumb reference. That's been a minute there, John. I don't know if we're going to get an extended Farzy show, but you're going to get a little bit more of me. Stay tuned. By the way, John, I thought of one of your minor inconveniences because it was a minute since I had been in this world, but my daughter is now potty trained. She's 3 years old, so I'm not changing diapers with her, but my son, Leo, is almost 9 months, and he has reached the point where it's impossible to change his diaper. Like, impossible. Like, you really have to, if you give him a toy, you got 15 seconds, which should be more than enough time, but sometimes it's not. But a minor inconvenience I would wish on an enemy is I wish you have to change a toddler's diaper. Something like that. That's a struggle. Or even worse, you have to dress a toddler in a hurry because you got to run out the door. You got a family party to get to. Or you got to get to FedEx, Kinko's, whatever the hell it's called, FedEx office. I don't even know. You got to get to there, and you got to, before it closes, and you got to put pants on a toddler. That's crazy. Anyway. Boop. Mopar at Farzy Show. What's shaking over cooked bacon? What's shaking over cooked bacon? I don't know. Nothing. Cooked bacon doesn't need nothing. No shaking over it. Wait. Oh, PJ needs more coffee. Well, I don't know if you guys have noticed. I've made some changes. Okay. I put up my Sixers DVD. That's the DVD of like the 10 best games ever. But I also have, that might be holding up. Yeah, I'm not moving that. But if I move over to the side, I think you guys can see that. Yeah, you guys can see that. That's the first ever, right there is the first ever espresso machine I owned. And my wife's like, when are you going to throw it out? And I'm like, you bite your tongue, lady. And I had that for 9 years. And then finally, it literally blew a gasket. And it had so much sentimental value to me that I actually looked to buy a new gasket, so I could keep the same machine. Didn't work out. Did not work out. Apparently, that's a specialty item. Whatever. Mopar, thanks, buddy. I had to come back to see if he's wearing the same damn shirts before I go shopping. I don't want to get anything like it. This is a brand new shirt. I teased yesterday to have a new shirt today. I got a new shirt. By the way, I loved what PJ had to say, that I just put on a green shirt and he just picks the color every day. This is a superimposed shirt. It's a superimposed shirt. Let's see here. John Cheeseborough, dress shirt. Farzy going Zoom, dress shirt with jockey Sackable and gray socks. Yeah, pretty much. Tyvita Harden still hasn't changed. I still think he should come off the bench. Tyvita, piping hot take. I mean, Doc is going to stagger minutes. Only Met. Oh, God, that was so great watching the Mets suck. Mihai, speaking of the Mets this offseason, Edwin Diaz to the Phillies? What? I'm in. Mopar, cheerio, mates. Very nice. Yes, they are. So RJ Lucas, relax. It's preseason and starts. The Stars work out in the preseason, the first 25 games. I hope that's the case. Christmas, January. Farzy, here are our demands. 1, extended Farzy show. 2, bro on broad. 3, the return of Hughes Day. If these demands are not met, I hope Mike Sealski keeps calling you about being a guest. These are all reasonable requests. Mopar, the espresso machine is so old it needs to be manscaped. Well, that's gross. I'm glad I already have my espresso for the morning. Usually it's 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon. Sean, again, that's a quarter in the machine. Yep. Appreciate everybody. Very much so. You guys are awesome, as per usual. Let's get into the Morning Rush, brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. As I mentioned, Phillies, Braves, 1:07 start time today. NLDS. Ranger Suarez against Max Fried. Suarez 1-2 in 5 starts against the Braves this season. 3.12 ERA. He's only allowed 1 run over 17 innings of work. I got the Phillies winning today against the Atlanta Braves. And I got Max Fried not doing as well. Max Fried actually pitched really well against the Phillies as well. As I mentioned already, 3.13 ERA in 4 starts. He's 0-1, and they have been able to score at least a couple of runs. And they hit him around a little bit. I think they had 9 hits in one of the most recent starts against the Phillies as well. So that's something to keep an eye out for. I think the Phillies win today. Ranger Suarez more than well rested. Come out, take care of business. This is one thing I want to get into. Chiefs beat the Raiders last night. Travis Kelce, 4 touchdown receptions. Interesting play last night. 7:25 to go in the 4th quarter. Travis Kelce catches his 4th and final touchdown of the game. The Chiefs go up 30-23 on the touchdown reception. Instead, now they're already up 7. Instead of just kicking the extra point, the analytics say go for 2. Now, to do the math for you here, for all the people who don't want to do it in the early goings of the morning, they kick the extra point, they go up 8 points. They get the 2-point conversion. It's a 2-score game, essentially, then. They're guaranteeing the 2-score game. They would need a touchdown, the extra point, they would need a touchdown, 2-point conversion, and then maybe a field goal to win the game. So instead of just going up 8, the Chiefs choose to go for 2. To try to go up 9. That seems dumb to me. You're already forcing yourself to go up by just kicking the extra point. You're already forcing yourself to go up 8, making them have to score a touchdown and then also convert the 2-point conversion. So they don't get the 2-point conversion. They only go up 30-23. So they're up a touchdown and the extra point. The Raiders then score a touchdown down the other end on the ensuing possession. The Raiders then decide to go for 2. So they go to try to take the lead. And the Raiders fail on that 2-point conversion attempt. The Raiders, I understand, you're trying to win it in regulation, you're trying to go up in regulation. I think there's 4 minutes left on the clock around that time at the time they actually scored the touchdown. But they don't get the 2-point conversion. I get them trying to win it there. I don't understand the Chiefs trying to go up 9 as opposed to just going up 8 by kicking the extra point. That's a little too analytically thinking for my taste. And I don't hate analytics even a little bit, but that just seemed dumb. They still won the game by 1 point. So go figure. Again, Travis Kelce, 4 touchdown receptions. Not too bad. 107 start time. Phillies win today. That's my prediction. Coming up against the Atlanta Braves. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. You guys are awesome. Jim Hyde produced the program. Did a wonderful job as per usual. This is the Farzy Show, a Buzz Sports Entertainment production. Brought to you by Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Let's go, Phillies.